But apparently, Brittney Griner is, in fact, a man.
Brittney Griner is once again at the center of controversy, but this time it's not about basketball, politics, or even her time in a Russian prison. What has the internet ablaze right now are resurfaced rumors questioning her biological identity. For years, whispers circulated online, but in the aftermath of a recent WNBA game, those rumors have exploded into full-blown speculation, driven by online commentators, viral videos, and what some are calling medical red flags. The claim that Brittney Griner may be a biological man competing in women's sports. It's a bold accusation, one that's inflammatory, polarizing, and so far completely unverified by any official body, but that hasn't stopped it from spreading like wildfire. Fuel was added when an old Instagram story of Griner resurfaced, one where she appears shirtless, walking around casually in what looks like an outdoor pool. Critics jumped on the fact that the video remained online for years without being flagged or removed for nudity. Their argument, Instagram's AI systems, which are trained to detect and moderate female nudity, didn't remove the post because it allegedly didn't read Griner as female.
Firstly, because this was actually posted to Brittney's personal Instagram. And when it comes to Instagram, they use a combination of like AI detection and plus manual surveyors, but specifically the AI detection to make sure that no explicit content ends up on the platform. So clearly whatever AI detection system was used when Brittney posted this and it stayed up for 106 weeks was not like, oh, this is a bare female chest, we have to take this down. It obviously assumed that Brittney was male and therefore being.
From there, a wave of amateur analyses followed, frame-by-frame breakdowns of her muscle mass, shoulder width, voice tone, and even jawline. Social media threads, some citing anonymous sports medicine professionals, began claiming that Griner's physical traits fall outside the expected range for female athletes. They pointed to her height, physical dominance, and recovery speed from past injuries as further evidence that she may possess male biological advantages. The central allegation that she may have been allowed to compete in women's sports without proper biological verification. As of now, there is no direct proof to confirm these accusations towards Griner. According to the WNBA, she is as female as every other player in the league. Brittney Griner has publicly identified as female her entire life, and there's no record of any athletic governing body ever questioning her eligibility. Nonetheless, the story has tapped into a growing cultural fault line, questions about fairness, gender, and integrity in sports. Whether grounded in truth or fueled purely by internet conspiracy, it has placed enormous pressure on both Griner and the WNBA. Just as this online firestorm was heating up, a separate controversy added gasoline to the flames. During a recent WNBA game, Griner was seen making aggressive contact with rising star Caitlin Clark. In slow-motion replays, Griner appears to elbow Clark in what many are calling a deliberate act. But it wasn't just the physicality. Lip readers and commentators began circulating clips suggesting that Griner muttered something under her breath as she walked away. According to several interpretations, she allegedly said, "trash" and "foxing white girl."
Brittney Griner is under fire for extremely aggressive behavior portrayed toward Caitlin Clark, the rookie from last year, the one that has everybody's focus in the WNBA.
That accusation opened up a whole new front in the debate. Was this a moment of heated competition or something darker, possibly racially charged? The league has so far declined to comment, and Griner herself has remained silent, further fueling speculation. Critics are now linking the two storylines together, arguing that the WNBA's unwillingness to address either issue signals a deeper problem: selective enforcement, protected identities, and a lack of transparency. As the controversy continues to spiral, the silence from the WNBA has only intensified public suspicion. People aren't just asking questions about what happened between Griner and Clark, they're now demanding answers about whether the league is deliberately avoiding uncomfortable truths. The theories, once dismissed as internet noise, are now driving national headlines. And at the heart of it all is the question: how has this gone unaddressed for so long? The video of Griner shirtless is now being dissected like a piece of evidence in a criminal case. Uploaded years ago to her personal Instagram story, the clip shows Griner casually moving around without a shirt on, with no blurring or moderation from the platform. That detail alone has become its own battleground. Critics insist that if the platform's AI and moderation systems didn't flag it as female nudity, then something doesn't add up. Others argue it's just another example of overreaching technology failing to catch context. Either Either way, the timing of the video resurfacing, just days after her alleged attack on Caitlin Clark, has supercharged its impact. Online voices, many of them framing themselves as independent experts, have taken the liberty of conducting full-blown physical analyses of Griner. Videos are circulating comparing her body composition, shoulder structure, and facial features to male averages. They point to how she's able to take physical hits, maintain muscle mass, and recover from injuries at a pace that they claim exceeds the norm for female athletes. Some even cite her deep voice and stoic demeanor as further proof of some hidden truth. These claims, of course, are entirely speculative and deeply invasive, but that hasn't stopped them from gaining traction. Meanwhile, supporters of Griner are calling all of this what they believe it is, a smear campaign. They argue that the renewed focus on her body, her voice, and her identity is less about athletic fairness and more about conservative outrage culture targeting women who don't fit conventional molds. Griner, who is openly gay, black, and unapologetically herself, has long been a polarizing figure in the sports world. Now, the intersection of race, gender, and public perception is reaching a boiling point. But while both sides dig in, one voice remains noticeably absent: the WNBA's. No press release, no league statement, no disciplinary action or public support. The league's silence has left a vacuum, and into that vacuum has flooded speculation, distrust, and mounting pressure. If the league had come out immediately to clarify the incident with Caitlin Clark, or to definitively shut down the medical rumors, it might have stopped the wildfire. Instead, it's done nothing, and the silence is deafening. As more social commentators and influencers weigh in, the narrative is no longer about one game or one player. It's about institutional credibility. Did the WNBA knowingly look the other way when it came to verifying athlete eligibility? Are certain players too untouchable to face scrutiny? And if that's true, what does that mean for the future of women's sports? What started as a hard foul has turned into something much bigger, a moment that's forcing everyone to reckon with uncomfortable questions. And whether they like it or not, the league can't stay silent forever. As pressure mounts, what was once considered fringe speculation is now being echoed by voices far beyond the usual corners of social media. Sports commentators, political pundits, and even some former athletes are beginning to weigh in, not necessarily to validate the rumors, but to ask why there's been no transparency. The question isn't just, is Brittney Griner a biological male? It's, why isn't the WNBA addressing any of this? In a world where competitive fairness is under intense scrutiny, particularly in women's sports, any suggestion of unregulated advantages becomes explosive. And with Caitlin Clark representing the fresh face of the league, any attack on her, physical or verbal, takes on additional weight. Clark is not just a rookie, she's become a symbol. She draws the crowds, sells the jerseys, and headlines the media cycles. The elbow she took from Griner didn't just bruise her body, it sparked a conversation that's now challenging the entire foundation of trust between players, the league, and its fans. For many, the issue isn't whether Griner is definitively something other than what she claims to be. The issue is whether the WNBA has done its due diligence on all players equally. In an era where Olympic athletes must undergo detailed biological and hormone-based evaluations to compete in women's categories, people are asking, why does the WNBA seem to operate in a gray area? Has there ever been a verification process for its players? If not, why not? And if so, why hasn't that been clearly communicated to the public amid these escalating claims? The silence is being read not as neutrality, but as complicity. A growing chorus is accusing the league of protecting players who fit a certain narrative, especially when their identity aligns with progressive values. To critics, this is about more than basketball. It's about whether institutions are playing by their own rules or bending them when it's politically convenient. Then there's the legal side. If Griner were proven to have an unfair biological advantage and the league failed to act, it could trigger lawsuits from players and teams who feel they lost opportunities, titles, or earnings. Brands that sponsor the WNBA may also face backlash for remaining silent, especially those who've built their image around equity and fairness in women's sports. And yet, amid all this, Brittney Griner herself has said nothing. No public appearance, no interview, no response to the video, the comments, or the accusations. Whether this is a legal strategy or simply avoidance is unclear, but silence once again is being interpreted as guilt, rightly or wrongly. Supporters continue to push back, saying she owes no one an explanation for her body or her past, and that this entire media frenzy is steeped in sexism, racism, and transphobia. But even some of Griner's defenders are beginning to ask, if there's nothing to hide, why not confront the rumors head on and shut them down? It's no longer just a question of identity, it's a question of integrity, of competition, governance, and truth. And the longer the silence drags on, the louder the questions become. The storm surrounding Brittney Griner has now moved beyond speculation and into something more dangerous, a full-blown reckoning. What began as a physical altercation during a WNBA game has become a spotlight exposing the fractures in the foundations of women's sports. Issues of fairness, identity, transparency, and accountability. And if the league doesn't respond soon, the consequences may extend far beyond the court. Calls for comprehensive biological testing are now echoing louder than ever. Commentators are demanding everything from chromosome analysis to hormone level assessments, not just for Griner, but for all athletes competing in women's leagues. Whether motivated by genuine concern or fueled by outrage culture, the fact remains, trust has been shaken. If governing bodies fail to act, they risk losing the credibility they've spent decades building. And the timing couldn't be worse. Women's sports are finally getting the attention they've long deserved. The WNBA is breaking attendance records, viewership is up, and young stars like Caitlin Clark are bringing in new generations of fans. But scandals, especially ones this toxic, have the potential to undo all that progress. Sponsors don't like controversy, parents don't send their daughters into leagues they believe are unsafe or unfair, and athletes don't stay quiet when they believe they're playing by a different set of rules than their competitors. Then there's the legacy angle. Brittney Griner has had a storied career, multiple All-Star appearances, Olympic gold, and a platform that reaches far beyond basketball. But if these rumors continue to grow unchecked, they won't just damage her reputation, they'll tarnish everything she's accomplished. Every title, every record, every accolade will come with an asterisk in the minds of critics. Fair or not, silence often writes its own story. The psychological fallout is another piece of the puzzle. Caitlin Clark, despite her composure, now represents a generation of athletes who are watching this unfold in real time. When someone gets physically hit on the court and racially insulted, if that's what happened, and the league says nothing, what message does that send? That certain players are untouchable, that star power grants immunity, or worse, that truth only matters when it fits the right narrative? Mental health professionals have already begun speaking out, warning of long-term damage not just to Clark, but to female athletes everywhere. Competing in a system where eligibility is unclear, behavior is unchecked, and accountability is optional creates a toxic environment. And if players lose faith in the integrity of the league, everything else crumbles. This isn't just about Brittney Griner anymore. It's about every league, every team, every coach who looked the other way. It's about the future of women's sports and whether they'll be defined by fairness or favoritism. And it's about whether institutions built to empower women are now being used to protect select individuals at the cost of everyone else. The truth, whatever it is, won't stay hidden forever, and if the WNBA won't speak up, the public will keep demanding answers, because in the end, silence isn't protection, it's permission, and the longer it lasts, the more damage it does.